Thank you and welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. We'll get started. I just want to thank all of you for joining. We'll start. I'm sure other people are going to join us very, very soon. I'm very, very glad that you've managed to make time to come for this amazing and educational webinar. My name is Lucy Ayodo, and I'm from Soberano Educational Consult, and I will be the moderator for the webinar today. Okay. Now, before we get started, we have a few housekeeping announcements that I would like to make. Now, this webinar will have two sections. The first will be an interview, and then the second session, we are going to look at the chat and pick the questions and answer as many questions as we can within the time that we have. The other thing is, please use the chat to put down all your questions related to the topic that we are discussing. If you have any question at the point when answers or the discussion is going on, please just put it in the chat and we'll find a way of picking it and coming back to it so that we can continue with the discussions using the chats. We are also recording this webinar, so we are going to have it posted and we'll send you information on the link where it's going to be. So look out for it. That's another important information that I wanted to let you know. And just encouraging all of you to get your writing materials ready because there's going to be a lot of information that is going to be very, very helpful to you. And now I would like you to help me in welcoming our guest for today, our guest speaker for today. And this is none other than Dr. Toyin Sam Emehulu. Okay, I've tried. She is indeed a distinguished leader in education, leadership, and business consultancy. As the CEO and executive consultant at Core Skills Transformational Academy Limited, Dr. Toyin exemplifies excellence in her field. With a doctoral degree in education planning and management from Prowess University, USA, and a certificate in public leadership and policy from the School of Politics, Policy and Governance, she brings a wealth of expertise. I can assure you of that. Now, she is a fellow at the Chartered Institute of Mentoring and Coaching, Nigeria, Chartered Institute of Management Consultants, and a member of the Pan-African Consultants Association to highlight her exceptional knowledge and influence. She is also an accomplished author of 28 books and a key figure on advisory boards across Africa and beyond. Dr. Toyin is a partnership lead at Equip Nigeria, John C. Maxwell's non-profit organization. Her visionary leadership and commitment to transformation has earned her numerous international and national awards. Beyond her professional achievements, Dr. Toyin is a devoted mother and wife, embodying a remarkable balance between career and family. Her inspiring presence and impactful work continue to shape the educational landscape and empower future leaders. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Toyin. You can maybe clap with, yes, the
Thank you
emojis.
so
Welcome,
much.
welcome,
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank
Big,
you.
big welcome.
It's such a delight to be here, Lucy. Remember, this was once an idea.
Yes.
And I'm always excited when I see ideas coming to life and coming to fruition. It just does these things to my mind. And I'm grinning from ear to ear also because, I mean, you did it.
Thanks to
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thanks to
Thank you,
you.
Gloria. Thank you. I'm super excited to see everyone. So I was trying to also, push the link forwards
Yes.
to my various communities,
Mhm.
while you were making the announcement just for us to have more people in the room.
Mhm.
And I'm super excited to see everybody. I mean, Kenya and Ghana are like my second homes. I was having a conversation with Lucy. I said, Yes, let's do this. I can't wait to visit again. I've been in these two countries and I felt so much at home. Akwaba.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes, yes. So thank you so much. Thank you for holding my hands. If it wasn't for you, this webinar would not be. Thank you for just pushing me and getting me out of my comfort zone. And I really appreciate that. So we'll go straight into our discussion. So the topic, I'll read this for all of us. The topic is vision to impact, leading schools into the future, simple, actionable tools for school owners, leaders, and educators to drive positive change. That is the topic we are dealing with today. So it is for everybody, it is for school owners, for leaders, and educators, everybody in education. Okay? So we'll dive in so that we have ample time to deal with the questions later on from the guests. So the first question I have for you, Dr. Toyin, is what are
yeah.
the key elements? What are the key elements of a compelling school vision that can drive meaningful change?
Hmm.
That can drive meaningful change.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. So I'm going to start with the fact that any school that is coming up with a vision, the vision must be, first of all, clear. It must be aspirational. And most importantly, it must be grounded in values, right? And uh, the most important thing, aside from these three major things I've mentioned earlier, is also that it must be glocal. So when glocal is made up of two words, which we've merged together, that means it must have both global relevance and local context. So what do I mean by this? Any school that must have a compelling vision must be able to look at the grander scheme of things when it has to do with how the children within that school can be globally relevant, right? Can be a global citizen, can be able to function anywhere, and not just the student right now. I'm talking about the entire stakeholders within the school. We must consider that very strongly. And then we shouldn't lose sight of local context because the whole essence of education is not just to acquire knowledge, but also to acquire skills and attitude that we can use to change present situations in our immediate environment. I'm sure quite a number of us have heard about the gown and the town. The gown talks about what are the quality of the student that will churn out, what are the quality of the teachers that are positioned to actually work with the students within our climes to bring about extraordinary products of students that will then go ahead into the town to solve our problems. So we must answer the question of, as a school, what is the big picture? Where are we going? Who are we becoming? Who are we serving? Because the place of your target audience also matters a lot. Not every school can serve every citizen in every country. Now, let me explain this further. No two manufacturing companies are the same, even if they are producing, let's say, beverages, right, or biscuits. They are not the same. Why? Because there is an input and there is an output. So consider your school as a place where the children come in their raw state, the teachers come in their raw state, coming from a place of diverse experience, diverse background, diverse perspective. Now, they come in contact with your school or with our schools, which happens to be the manufacturing plant, or what we say, or what we call the, when you've been to a manufacturing industry, what we call the machinery in itself, and then the raw materials, which are the people that are coming into our school, pass through, right, this manufacturing plant or the tools within the manufacturing company. And then we have a lot of things, mixture, we mix this, we make them go through this, they go through that. So this is where we begin to consider things like the processes, the structure, the curriculum, we consider, the infrastructure, we consider co-curricular activities, we consider other skills that are not just academic based, but they are transformational in nature. And then at the end of the day, what is our output and how will it benefit the world? All right. And first off, how will it benefit the immediate environment? How are the students going to bring about development within our climate and then globally across the world? So I think I've been able to do justice to that first question.
Awesome, awesome. I've picked a new word there, glocal, and I hope everybody has picked that. So we are not just looking locally, but we're talking, we're talking about the globe. So we are preparing students not just for the local environment, but for wherever they find themselves. So thank you so much for that very, very intensive answer that you've given us. Now, the second question, how can school leaders effectively translate a broad vision into daily actionable goals for staff and students?
Okay, so there's something I always say, right, that for school leaders, it's beautiful when you have the vision, but have it and keep it in a place. First off, then you need to be able to get every other person on your team to then begin to also conceive, ask for their ideas, ask for what they feel, ask for what they think with the benefit of hindsight, insight for foresight. Why? Because people will not primarily participate in ideas that they didn't contribute to. So a lot of leaders just come in with their own thoughts, with their own ideas, and then they just go ahead to, kind of throw it at other stakeholders. Now, oftentimes, even when you have some people that will cooperate, they will not take ownership. And that's where the beginning of the problem starts. And a lot of school leaders are confused. Oh, wow, I thought this is a beautiful vision. Yes, it is. It is a beautiful vision to you. Why? Because you were the one that came up with it. Primarily, the teachers and the other stakeholders within your client did not actually, they were not consulted in the process of, being a part of the vision. And so what you then realize is that there is a partial commitment. What you then realize is that there is a partial commitment or there is kind of no commitment at all from the various stakeholders. And that can be quite discouraging for us as school leaders. So that's why I actually had to take my time to actually explain this and how things like this begins to come to the fore. So you want to then, after you've gotten their buy-in, after you've been able to make sure that they are collectively a part of it, so you then take their own ideas and marry it with yours. Now, the beautiful thing about what happens at the long term is that they not only just take ownership, you also have a richer and a more refined vision. So there you want to break the vision down into 3 major pillars. Pillar number 1 is character. I don't know about Kenya and Ghana, but for Nigeria, when you are done with your tertiary education, there's something boldly written on your certificate, both in learning and in character. And why did I put character first? I put character first because IQ and academic intelligence can only take you as far as possible. Well, your character opens doors. It gives you opportunity. I mean, people get to relate with you deeper. You open up more global opportunities for the students. I mean, and beyond just their work life. You want to raise adults that are well-rounded, they have good family lives, they have empathy, they build a legacy, they are not just successful, they live significant lives. And it's just an all-round perspective that whoever the child is that is coming out of your school, which is born out of a compelling vision, will have character. The next one is competence. Yes, of course, they must have the technical skills. I mean, you can't call yourself an educator and then you can't communicate effectively. You can't call yourself a medical doctor and then you don't actually know where the various parts of the human body resides or how to diagnose diseases and all of that. So the place of competence cannot also be thrown out. And then creativity. I like this third part because creativity is so fantastic. And it doesn't have to do with you building something with your hand alone. In fact, whatever it is you build with your mind is, I would say, 80% settled. I remember when Lucy approached me and she was like, oh, we got talking, she got to see me on Facebook and we got talking and I told her, you don't need to wait. I'm here for you. And we came up with this whole thing you are enjoying today in less than an hour, right? And look at everything. And then a lot of creativity came to the fore. She sent me some stuff, I refined it. She sent me some other stuff, I refined it, and a lot of creativity occurs. So creativity is the ability to make something out of nothing, to bring into existence what hasn't been existing before. Right? Being an author of 28 books is such an amazing experience for me because each time I get to, get feedback about my books, where they've been across the continents of the world, I'm super excited because it also helps me to leave a stand of time. So those are the kind of students that you should be able to create, right? So character, competence, and creativity are like how you can begin to narrow down the broad vision. Then when you have understood these three pillars, design them into weekly themes, morning reflections, lesson planning templates, and most important, let it be an hidden curriculum, like an integral curriculum. You don't necessarily have to teach them as a subject, but across subjects, whether you are looking at it horizontally or vertically, according to the curriculum, to make sure that these three pillars are consistent across all thematic areas, across all subjects, across all topics. And most importantly, as a school leader, you need to embody it. And then, of course, make sure your staff, both the academic and the non-academic as well. So please don't ever isolate the non-academic staff. But they are as influential in the lives of the children in your school community as the academic staff. And this is very, very critical. Everybody must carry out, from the security man at the gate to the cleaner, because these people can either make you lose customers or even earn customers. All right. So thank you so much, Lucy. I think
thank you so much. Thank you so much. Power of character, competence, and creativity. Powerful. That is so, so powerful. Thank you. So we move to the third question. And this is related to what you've just talked about. So what simple tools, because we are here to take away tools, what simple tools or frameworks do you recommend for monitoring progress toward aligning with a school's vision?
Yes. So I like to be very simple. One of the things that have been a differentiating factor for me as an education consultant is the ability to simplify things. So I'm not going to be mentioning some models that's so abstract that you start having to rack your head. I mean, these things I'm going to be sharing with you, if you're a very serious school leader, you are going to be able to do it almost immediately. So the first thing is a monthly checklist for leaders. So you have to create a checklist. All right. based on your school's vision, mission, and core values. And peradventure, you don't know how to create this checklist. So that is where you need Lucy and I to help you create a bespoke one for your school. Lucy, am I speaking your mind? But that's going to be at a fee.
Yes, you are.
That's going to be at a fee because it's not how will I put it now? It's not a cast in stone. We have to make something unique, generic for your school. So we can't even also tell you the cost until when we have the conversation. Because as consultants, we also understand the fact that we have to, first of all, carry out diagnosis. We are just like medical doctors, but now we treat schools that are not doing very well. All right. And or even schools that are doing well, but they want to do better. Okay. Because not everybody that goes to the hospital goes there because of corrective measures. Some people go to the hospital for preventive measures, right? So if you would need a standard checklist for your leaders, in fact, we would even help you refine your vision because some of us, we can't go into the vision casting process. That's another lecture on its own. So sometimes we may have to, if you're working with your school, we may have to, first of all, help to refine the vision that you have. Because if your vision is more than 2 sentences, it's ambiguous. So don't let me divert too much. There's so much on my head. Let me stay focused. So the first thing is a monthly checklist. The second thing is classroom walkthrough forms. The third thing is student voice surveys. You see what? A lot of times we isolate or we don't put into cognizance the students within our school communities. These are the people that we are serving, right? So it's important that we get their buy-in. It's important that we get feedback. It's important for them to let us know, okay, you as the product, is there any form of alignment or misalignment between what we promised that you're going to be and who you are right now or who you are becoming? All right. Then there's also what is called the staff pulse check. The staff pulse check is also very important because it helps you to know if you are on track as a school leader. And remember, the staff pulse check will be easier to carry out when you have raised your staff to come into the vision forming process. So these are like 4 things that I just want to share with you that are quite simple. I don't want to make it too ambiguous, So you may even want to consider a vision dashboard on your notice board, or you have a WhatsApp group where, or you create a WhatsApp broadcast list where you can just send simple Google form, but the items on the Google form is something that we would love to help you create so that it makes sense, right? It's not something out of the scope of the entire thing. So usually I do tell schools that whenever they call me in for consulting, I try to do at least a session that comprised of the first, second, and third academic terms. Why? Because that is the only way we can do a deep work. We can evaluate before the work, during the work, where we monitor and evaluate, and then at the end of the process. So, Lucy, over to you.
Okay, thank you so much. I hope everyone has picked some important tools there that you can use. Very simple. If you want to know more information, we'll give you the contacts that you can be able to, get in touch with, and you can be able to get more information on all that. Then the next question is, how can school owners foster a culture that embraces innovation and continuous improvement? You talked about creativity. We're bringing innovation here. So how can school owners foster a culture that embraces innovation and continuous improvement?
Now, one of the things I always say is that one of the reasons why we have, especially in this part of the world, the African continent, one of the reasons why they still categorize us as a third world is because even as individuals, we have not been able to embed the culture of innovation and continuous improvement as we ought to. Now, I want you to type in the chat if you are aware about the fact that when either Kenyans, Ghanaians, or Nigeria go to the developed countries, we excel exceptionally. Have you gotten that kind of feedback? Type yes in the chat. Type yes if you have gotten that kind of feedback. So I'm going to give yeah, thank you so much, Daniel. Because yes, absolutely. Because I'm going to give an example of my own elder brother. All right. He was a bank manager before he left here and all of that. And the environment was so tough and all of that. When he got to Canada, in less than 2 months when he got the banking job, he was an outlier. I mean, his boss were threatened. They were literally threatened because of the way he worked and all of that. And right now, he works with the federal government, the Canadian federal government bank, which is like the central bank of Nigeria. I don't know what you call it in other countries, you know. And to cut the long story short, he got to buy his home. He got to get it. I mean, under a very short period of time. Now, the reason why it seems as though we excel and all that is the culture. There's an enabling environment that gives room for innovation and creativity and continuous improvement. So, but we can all not run out of this continent, right? Because there is no place like home. And I'm saying all of this because I don't want to speak or talk about our school system and isolate it from the lives that we live every day and the society and the reality.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hope I'm back.
Okay.
Sorry, I may have to just have my I'm trying to turn on. It's still part of the innovation we are talking about. So I had a power cut, so I'm trying to switch internet, but I don't want to delay us for that. So I'll just move with this before I have the power on. At least you can hear my voice, and I think that's the most important thing for now.
Yes.
Okay, so yes, as I was saying, okay, so I was talking about how we can separate, transformation from the school and separate the society from the school. So basically, we need to model vulnerability and curiosity. We need to be able to, oh yeah, power is back. Oops. So we need to create a safe place for teachers to feel. There's something called psychological safety. Okay, there's a term called psychological safety. And this term refers to our ability to be able to see failure as part of the process to achieving success. The opposite of failure is not success. The opposite of success is not failure. Failure is an integral part of success. As a matter of fact, as humans, we learn more from our setback than from our successes. And that's just the way life is designed. And as such, it is important that we don't raise children that are too careful, right? It's also important that we reward creative attempts, not just outcomes. So for example, a child that moves from let's say 60% to 65% should be celebrated. It is not until when the child moves from 60% to about 80 or 90 because the process of the child being able to have an increment in the level of performance is something that must be acknowledged, all right? And for me, I am always advocating for that because
One of the problems we also have is we overestimate how will I put it, grades. Okay, when I mean we overestimate students' grades and forget about every other aspect of their lives. We know that there are three domains of learning as educators. We have the cognitive, we have the affective, and we have the psychomotor, right? But a lot of us, especially in this part of the world, we just focused on only the cognitive. And whether the child's attitude, whether the child's belief system, we leave out the child's mindset, we leave out concepts such as the 6C, talking about communication, critical thinking, creativity. We leave out on citizenship. All right.
Yes.
We overlook things like that, but that shouldn't be. Ideally, it's uncalled for. These are areas and aspects that we need to be very, very intentional about. So we also have to celebrate learning over perfectionism and build a structured time for reflection and professional development. Now, I'm going to say this because sometimes school leaders feel that, oh, they have to be the ones always having, what is it called now? Always having to be the one in charge of the professional development for their for their teachers and for their schools. No. As a matter of fact, one of the ways in which you can develop leaders within your environment is to give them the autonomy to research, to grow, and come back to teach other people, right? And that way, you will begin to build a community of not just, because great leaders build other leaders. All right. Ordinary leaders build followers. So, in a nutshell, model vulnerability and curiosity, creates a safe space for both teachers and students and everyone in the community to feel.
Okay. Are we together? Dr. Toyin?
Important. Thank you. Over to you, Lucy.
Okay, thank you. I'm sure most of you have noticed I'm trying to be innovative. 5 minutes to the call, my power went off. So yes, I'm trying to be innovative in that way. Thank you so much. So we are talking about celebrating the students at every single stage. We've talked about importance of reflection and the importance of continuous professional development, among so many others. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. Then the next question. Yes. So what role does data play in turning vision into impact in a school setting? What role does data play in turning vision into impact in a school setting?
Okay, so I'm manipulating between two devices because I just had to, so, we just have to make the best of tonight's conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm glad I'm able to do this effectively. Yeah. Okay, so to the next question, very, very important question. Now, one of the things that we need to know is that data is the new gold and the new oil. And what exactly is data? Data is anything that can help us to be able to, anything we can collect, collate, analyze, synthesize that helps us to make informed decisions. Okay, so like I said, I love simplicity. I don't like ambiguity. So I'm giving you a layman's term. So data is basically how we listen to our systems objectively, not subjectively. So subjectively is highly based on our emotions, all right? But objective decisions are based on data. They are based on facts and figures. So whether it's in your attendance record, assessment scores, student well-being feedback, data actually helps to guide wise decision and resource alignment with the vision. Now, I'm going to give an hypothetical example. You could collect data of how the children are doing behaviorally. So there's a school that I consult for in Abidjan, right? That's Cote d'Ivoire. By the way, I was there sometimes last year, and I've been consulting for them for like 2 or 3 years now, and we had to come up with a training that was just before they resumed this academic session. Why did we need to come up with that training? It was because we were able to gather data regarding behavioral issues in the school. So the children were doing well academically, but there was a lot going on when it's, the aspect of attitude, discipline, behavior. And so we had to go through a curriculum called the social emotional learning. Now, remember, transformation starts both from the top down, the middle, and down up. So we had to take the teachers through the social emotional learning, because we also discovered that some of the students started reacting because of the way the teachers were behaving towards them. Some of the children started reacting, and because sincerely, when children have the wrong behavioral attitude, it's basically because they are trying to get attention. It's just that they don't know the right way to get it. Or sometimes they're trying to get back at adults within their sphere. Because the children that we raised lately, they're not the ones that are compliant. We were raised to keep quiet, shut up, and then we are like, they want to express themselves. You say one, they want to say 10. And if you don't creatively handle them, and I mean, for us in Nigeria, I don't know about other states, a teacher will go to jail if you deploy corporal punishment. So that means you have to begin to consider effective discipline strategies to handle the children. So to cut the long story short, we're able to come up with this training. Why? Because with the use of data, we realized there was higher rates of bullying, there was higher rates of behavioral challenges. It started affecting the children's academic performance. And the vision of the school is very simple. Their vision was to raise creative and global citizens that can effectively, I'm trying to paraphrase now because I can't remember the exact word, that can effectively thrive wherever they find themselves in the world. So the school owner had to go back to the drawing board and say, hey, there's no normal vision alignment. Then we started collecting this data, and then this data helped us to be able to make wise decisions, and they were able to allocate resource that helped to realign and refocus them back to the vision. And one of the things we are also deploying is the Leader in Me curriculum. And I mean, Lucy is conversant with that. And I think I would stop there. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So that's talking about data-driven decision-making, very, very important in the field of education. And I like the example that you've given us, very, very practical, very, very practical. Yes. So while we're still on data, and we're in a world that's going technology every single day, every single place, my question is, how can technology be leveraged as a tool to support visionary leadership in schools?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I mean, we all will not be having this fantastic, robust conversation if not for the use of technology. We have people from diverse countries represented here, spanning from Nigeria to Kenya to Ghana. So if you are not in any of these three countries, I mean, you are in another country, can you please type in the chat? Because I would like to acknowledge you, because I'm only aware that we have people from 3 countries here. So if you are in a country different from these 3 that I've mentioned, please type in the chat. Now, I'm saying this because, I mean, there is no time as beautiful as this. So from your administrative support, leveraging on tech to streamline your admissions. I mean, quite a number of us filled Google Forms before we were part of this program. That was a form of which we used to collect data, Jamboard, you know, and
Okay, there's a bit of problem with your connection.
other resources.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes. Please go ahead.
Okay, all right, I guess it's back. Different such as Google Form, Airtable, yes, such as I was talking about leveraging on different tools
Yes.
and technologies.
Mm-hmm.
And I was citing examples of starting from even the administrative process, using of Google Tools, Google Form, the entire Google Suite, Calendar, you know, Google Keeps. I'm a fan of Google, yeah. So for some other people on this call, you may be a fan of Microsoft, which I mean, there's nothing bad about it. But for me personally, I find the entire Google space, the Google Suite, very, very easy to navigate, right? From the Gmail to the use of YouTube to Google Maps to the Google Calendar to the Google Classroom. Yeah, I'm sure we are all aware of Google Classroom.
Yes.
Please,
Yes.
if you are not, please make sure you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Google Classroom is a whole repertoire. Blogs, you know, Google Blogs as educators, you can actually have your own personal blog and do a whole lot, let the whole world know about you. Then, of course, we have the place of personalized learning. Khan Academy is a class dojo. So take, for example, you can have your customized learning management system, like I have for my consulting firm, which Lucy is signed on with. And, you know, to having documents, Google Documents, using of Canva, class tags. I think the beautiful thing is that as much as possible, as many tech tools that can help to simplify your work, you need to learn them, but a caveat, make sure that this tech tools serve the vision of your school and not distract all stakeholders from it. That is very elusive.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Great, great. That's the use of technology. Very important, but has to be used very, very carefully. Yeah, so that's amazing. I just want to remind everybody, if you have a question, please just drop it in the chat so that we can pick it up. Our time is quickly running out, so I would want to address any questions that you have before we conclude. So the other question is, what advice would you give to emerging school leaders? We have a lot of school leaders and emerging school leaders on the platform. So what advice would you give to emerging school leaders who want to lead change but feel overwhelmed by challenges? They feel overwhelmed. Yes.
Yeah, challenges are real. And we can't deploy, so one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself is to get a mentor. I mean, there's somebody that has walked the path. When Lucy reached out to me and I was like, oh, that's simple. I'm sure all the ideas I was sharing with you, Lucy, you're like, oh my God. These were ideas I executed way back in 2012. So that's about how many years ago? Almost 13 years, 11, 12, 13 years ago. And so you need to get a mentor, but you need to be very, how will I put it now? You need to be very circumspect about the kind of mentor you get. So I've written a book on core skills and mentoring, and it's actually it's a book that I've put together. We have the e-copy. I'll definitely be dropping the what's it called now? The link to my seller shop. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of us we are conversant with seller. Okay. I'm sure, I mean, Stella is so because we have our, what's it called? We have our website, but I felt that will be a bit cumbersome. But Stella is very easy for you to navigate. So that particular book, because I've been a paid mentor and coach since 2017, right? And it's been one of the greatest decisions I've made in my life. And so I'm always super excited to share. Please just give me a minute. My husband is calling.
Okay, no problem. No problem,
Right.
doctor.
Let me mute my mic so that I don't disturb the call. Sorry, I'm always very sensitive about family. All right, so I've told my son to speak to him. He's been out of town. We've been both out of town actually. But
Okay, in your introduction, I already mentioned you're a wife and a mother, so that's allowed. It's okay.
I love that. Super cute. So yes, I think the link I shared, I hope it's not the meeting link that I shared in here. Oh wow, I guess it's the
Google.com.
meeting link.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I think that's the meeting link. Okay, so I wanted to share the link to the seller. Okay, good. So I've shared the seller link in the chat. So all you just need to do there, all my 28 books, some affiliate courses and all of that, you can access them there. It's automated.
Okay.
So you can easily make payments and also download. So you don't have to call me or anything. Yeah, so still back to tech, right?
Yes.
Still back to tech, you know? So you need to get a mentor, and it's important that you know how to choose the right mentor. So that was what led me to that book. All right. And then you can also strategically position yourself to being a mentor, in other people's life as time goes on. So another thing you need to do is just have something called the student voice box, where you capture ideas. You may want to have weekly teacher wins bulletin where you share, you ask teachers to just share their successes. Now, whatever you want to see repeated, you have to reward. So for small schools, it's not necessarily financially. So when we think about reward, a lot of times our mind just goes to money. No. Sometimes it's just recognition. Sometimes it's just a card. I mean, if you can design Canva, I can't tell you how far that will go to make a teacher excited. And though you have little or no resources, you can always reach out, right? You may just want to have a 10-minute mission cycle on the Monday assemblies. These are very small shifts, but then they can transform the culture and boost morale, right? One of the things, when I was actively a school leader, because I love to be very practical, one of the things I was able to champion, okay, I think that was way back in 2006, 2007, thereabout, in one of the schools that I led, was I was able to share other ideas on how teachers can earn extra without affecting their job, and then still helping them to be effective to deliver on their KPIs. And guess what? We are to resume by 8 a.m. and I have the sessions between 7:30 and 8. So what that means is that teachers started coming very early because they don't want to miss out on the session. Can you beat that? So the issue of teacher lateness was eradicated just with that initiative. Then a lot of them started earning extra and their work performance increased. In fact, the school grew from about 80 students to about 120 students in an academic session, which was massive, because we also had some form of commission-based reward. So there are a lot of things. Time will not permit me, but I believe these ones are practical.
Okay, thank you so much. I like that. So I hope everybody is going to identify whatever challenge they have in the area they're working in, come up with innovative solutions, try them out, and let's see the impact. And Later on, we'll be talking about how to measure impact. We cannot be able to deal with all that today, but in coming up webinars, those are some of the topics we are going to be handling. So make sure you challenge yourself, be innovative, and try and come up with solutions to any problems you encounter in any area you're working on. So I'll have one question and then I'll throw a general question to you. I'm not seeing any questions in the chat, so I think everybody's fine. We've not touched on communication, which is crucial. So the question here is, how important is communication in moving from vision to impact? And what are effective communication practices? What are some of the effective communication practices you've seen in some of the schools you've been working with?
Sincerely, communication is everything. And when I say everything, I always like not just to limit when I'm having conversations.
Sorry.
Apostle Deke, can you please mute? Okay, thank you. All right. So when I say everything, I mean everything. Whether it's even communicating with yourself when you are alone, when you have to create the alone time, or communicating at the workplace, or communicating with your spouse, or communicating with your children, or communicating with a friend, or communicating with a mentor, a mentee, a coach, a coachee, communicating in your various social and religious settings. Communication is just everything.
Yeah.
I mean, and it doesn't necessarily have to be verbal, right?
Yeah.
In fact, I don't know if you know that verbal communication only accrues for just about 8%, and non-verbal
yes.
takes a huge chunk of almost 90-something%. And that goes to show that, your body, the tone of your voice, and everything communicates to your people around you. So vision dies in silence. Not communicating at all is also a form of communication.
Yeah. Yes.
All right?
Yes. Definitely.
So not communicating could be a sign of fear. Not communicating could be a sign of, not knowing what to say. Not communicating could be a sign of leadership incapability. So as a leader, you must learn when, how, where, right? What? We call it the 5 W's and the 1 H. So communication is in layers, whether it's written, like I said, it's verbal, visible. Communication is visible.
Yes.
So it's very important that as a leader, I can't tell you how many courses I've had to do on communication as a teacher, as an educator. There are times when silence is even golden.
Yes.
So communication is such a deep aspect. I don't even know how far we can go with it. But then basically you could use storytelling if you just let you know that we have had this conversation for almost about an hour, and it's as though we've just started 5 minutes ago. So it's just because the communication flow is so connecting, engaging, enriching, right? And I've used a lot of storytelling. So as a school leader, I use storytelling as appropriate. You want to use bulletin boards, so storytelling for probably the verbal communication, bulletin boards for the visible, make it graphical as much as possible. Remember, we are not just talking about teachers here. You need to really advocate for, a lot of times, is that don't just call for just PTA meetings. You need to have parent education sessions, because a lot of parents don't even know that parenting is a skill. And this is where someone like Lucy and I will come in very handy, because they need to hear from a taught voice. They are so used to you asking for your school fees, which you need to ask for anyway, that you can't play all the roles as effectively as when you have people like us that has the expertise, that has the experience, that has the exposure. Like I said, I consult across 5 African countries. So I have a myriad of knowledge and information. And even right here in Nigeria, I consult for a lot of um, um, government schools, states based, I mean, different states from the east to the west to the southwest and southeast. So it's very important that you have parent briefings, then classroom mantras, right? Where early in the mornings, you know, the students they're being popped up for the day. All right. You also want to be able to emphasize on things through repetition. And that's why when even you are giving a speech, there are some things you need to say 2 or 3 times before it's effectively communicated. All right. Repetition doesn't weaken the message, especially when it's a very important message. It strengthens buy-in. So let me stop there.
Thank you so much. I like the classroom mantras. That's something I'm going to run with. So classroom mantras. There's one question in the chat and a contribution: model what you want and be consistent about it. That is very, very true. Now the question is, trust is an important trait for transformation. How can school leaders help to consciously develop this culture among the school community?
So yes.
Trust.
The first thing is you can't give what you don't have.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you the question, how trustworthy are you? Now, don't get me wrong. No matter how much you try, you know, I'm a Christian, so I would say Jesus had his Judas.
That's so true.
Right? No matter how much you try, yes. But at least to a large extent, that is where you need to hone your leadership skills. You see, this thing that I just said now, oh my world, is super, super, super important. So I just dropped like a, I don't know if it showed, okay, like a graphics of one of the, so I'm also very passionate about helping leaders grow. Okay. And it's not just limited to, how will I put it? It's not just limited to even in the education space. Every single person must, I repeat, must develop their leadership capacity. First, for self-leadership. Second, for the ability to lead other people. And third, for leadership development skills. Because you cannot scale. You cannot scale until you are able to raise other leaders. Very, very key. So when it comes to building trust, there is a lot of process to it. So number one, you have to model it. Number two, you have to be able to show that you don't have sacred horse, which is very, very tough. I'm saying it's very, very tough because there is a natural inclination for you to start becoming, how will I put it now? When I say partial to people that are delivering on the job, it's just psychological, right? Yes, in fact, even as a parent, you struggle with it because you don't want to have sibling rivalry.
Yeah.
But there are just some children that are just so good.
Yeah.
They're just so good. And before you know it, subconsciously, you're beginning to tilt towards them.
Yeah.
And if care is not taken, so you need to be able to introspect and call yourself to order from time to time as a school leader and check yourself. Carry out a 360-degree feedback where you begin to ask people for feedback about your leadership.
Yes.
How am I doing? You ask the students, you ask the parents, you even ask other stakeholders, you ask your own mentor and coach, you ask zonal educator district officers, you ask, because we don't get to see ourselves because every one of us, we have blind spots.
Yeah.
So in building trust, you want to make sure that you are circumspect, And in some situations, if you also feel that you are bridging the line of trust, you may want to seek for help,
Yeah.
Among somebody else in your team to be the face of the team while you retrospect and make a lot more objective judgment from time to time. So I believe this helps.
Thank you so much. One last question, and then we're winding up. And the question is from Diana. She asks, how do you create the boundary between having strong and good relationships with students and staff and taking strict disciplinary actions when need be? The balance. How
Awesome.
do you do that?
Amazing.
Yes.
I have just one simple answer. Policy.
Uh-huh.
Policy.
Yes.
Do you have policies in your school?
Mm-hmm.
You see, policies just helps to save you a lot of stress. What is not written is not binding. I'll repeat, what is not written is not binding. And that is why you need to even start from your own family. Does your family have a constitution? My family does. Yes, we do. So I love you as a mom, but the constitution says this is the consequence for doing this.
Of what you've done. Yes.
Yes, it's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
So when there are policies that guide, the teachers, the way they're supposed to behave, ethical standards, and cut across ethics with the students, disciplinary measures, it's binding, irrespective. And that is why even you, the policy must guide you. If you dare try to go against what the policy says, you have destroyed the policy.
Mm-hmm.
And that is part of the reasons why we have a lot of bad leadership in Africa, because we have a lot of national. Have you seen the national policy of your country? Oh my God. If we can live up to like 5 or 10% of those policies, we will be at the forefront of the continent.
Yeah.
But a lot of times our leaders, the policies are just there for the masses. When you're rich, you don't get caught. But when you steal a goat behind somebody's yarn, they draw up tire on you, and then there's jungle justice. So you don't want to become that kind of leader.
Yeah.
Very, very important. You
Yes.
want to make sure that you are a kind of leader that, again, get the buy-in of everybody when you are also creating the policy, right? And then get education consultants like myself and Lucy to help you standardize it. And then, because it's very important for them to also know. So I call my children and then we sit down and we have conversations, because now they are in their teenage years. But when they were still younger, I had to come up with that constitution. But now everybody gets a buy-in. So it's automatic. It's ingrained in their mind. Are you getting it? So they already know. So it's kinds of, so is it that my family is 100%? Of course, no. But it just helps to create that regulation. It helps to create that structure and reduces my stress as a mom. And it helped me to also grow, responsible citizens for their country and the world at large. So that's what you want to do with the students within your school environment and the teachers as well.
Okay. Thank you so much. And Anna says, establish clear expectations. That's set clear rules, expectations, and consequences, ensuring students and staff understand what's expected of them. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Yes. So, parting shot for everybody. We have educators, we have school owners, we have leaders, we have other staff from, various departments in the school joining us today. What's your parting shot for all of them?
That is massive. You didn't tell me I was going to say this.
Something they can carry.
I know that they can take away from
here. Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay, so I'll go over to say again, sincerely, there are people that have walked the path
Yes.
of anything you want to achieve in life. And one of the things that has helped to cut short my journey, changing it from a long journey to a journey of fulfillment and significance, is because I sought for these people very early in my life, and they are still around my corner. And so look out for somebody. I mean, that future that you're looking out for, someone is already living it.
Yes.
Right? So even if you can't afford, because there are some mentors like that you may not be able to afford to pay for their, I mean, very good mentors are expensive. Very good coaches are expensive. That's the truth.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have the capacity to sign up for their one-on-ones and all of that, they usually have it in different levels. So start with an ebook. So for example, I've shared the seller link here. Go to our seller link workshop if you would like to be in camp. So camp is the core skills accountability mentoring program. We're starting in July. It's going to run through July, August, September, and it's virtual. Okay. It's about converting to your currency. It's about $120. Sorry, it's about, what am I saying? Yeah, it's about $7 to $80. I don't know why I removed the dollar code here. And so these are, because there's a lot you can learn with very deep work. All right, and just beyond just the 1 hour webinar, it's free. I will also encourage that invest in yourself. Take out your own money, right? There's a difference between eating crumbs and eating the real bread. There was no way Lucy could have brought me to do this if she's not a mentee of mine. By the way, she's doing a fantastic work. She's getting a certification as an education consultant. And Lucy, I'm sure you're having a swell time, right?
I am enjoying it. I am enjoying it. It is awesome. Yes, I'm enjoying it.
So as a school leader, have a budget for your own personal, because the law of the lead, according to John C. Maxwell, says that an organization cannot rise beyond the capacity of its leaders. An organization can never rise beyond the capacity of the leader. So I think we have another question here. It says that fairness and firmness are important in our school systems. How do we strike the balance? It's the same thing that we've been saying, all right? We've talked extensively about policy. Somebody also shared that it's important that you have establish clear expectations, understand, set clear rules and expectations, consequences, ensuring that students and staff understand what is expected of them. So if you need more support with that, then you want to see Lucy and pay for structured support. I mean, this is a free webinar. We've put a lot into this. There was a particular night Lucy and I were up until midnight trying to make sure that this is a success. So definitely we can't give everything, even though we say this webinar is free. We paid, right? When they say something is free, somebody has paid. That's the truth. Even salvation, Jesus paid with his life. So if you need something much more personal, something much more personalized, bespoke, then reach out to Lucy, and then of course myself and I will be ready and willing to support. So I think that will be all from me now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Toyin, for your time. I know you're busy. Your family is waiting for you, and we are also here grabbing all the time. But I'm really, really honored to have had you as a guest on the webinar today. And I want to thank each and everyone who has joined us. And I hope that you've really taken away something that is going to make your work much better, at least some reflection on what you're already doing and how you can get better, not just as a person, but also in your schools. You can be able to do a lot as an individual and make a great impact. So thank you so much. Please look out for other webinars that are going to come up. And Dr. Toyin's information is in the chat. So please, you can also pick that and continue, following through with any other discussions that you may need or any other support. We are here to support you. So thank you so much. Sorry, you wanted to say something? Yeah.
Yes, so and then I would really, 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 really love us to connect,
Yes.
okay, on social media. So I'm very visible. I'm very visible. In fact, just go to Google. You can Google my name. I have a personal website, and of course, you see a whole lot about me. So, of course, most of us got to see the flyer. My name is showing on the screen right now, Dr. Tony Samemehelu. Make sure you connect, but please make sure I won't accept caveats. So I don't just accept just anybody because I don't want to see just anything. So make sure that your social media is cleaned up, looks professional, whether on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Yes, I'm on TikTok as well. Make sure that your social media is looking clean. If it's looking clean, if it's looking professional and you're looking like, okay, yes, this is a real educator or someone going somewhere, be sure that my assistant or myself will accept your friend request and then we can keep conversing because I churn out a lot of content virtually every day and it's free, right? So you don't want to stop enjoying the beautiful things that you have gotten from here. So yes, Lucy, you need to read this feedback. Oscar says objectively fair and firm rather than emotional.
Emotional, yes.
Tina says thank you. Maxwell says thank you. Samuel says awesome webinar. Oh, Anna
Thank
also
you.
says thank you very much. This is very educative. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
And I
you.
look to see you very soon,
Yeah.
especially those of us in Ghana. Yeah,
As you
we're
can
working out
see,
something,
yes,
all
my
right?
innovation
That's
failed me. The lights haven't come back. I'm in total darkness now. But thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
yeah, you're
Yes,
welcome,
thank you
Sheila.
so much
You're
for your
welcome.
time. Okay,
Bye,
bye-bye,
everybody.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Greetings from California. Oh, we have somebody from California.
Yes, and there was Italy and Netherlands also on the page. Yes,
Wow.
thank you so much.
Wow.
I
So
really
we had
appreciate.
from like 5 countries.
Yes,
Amazing.
thank
Bye,
you.
everybody. See you in
Bye-bye.
our next webinar. And thank you so much for coming. This means a lot.
Bye.
And congratulations, Lucy.
Thank you so much. Thank you, my mentor.
Congrats.
Thank
You did
you.
it. Yeah.